Fighting has always been a part of hockey. It's even included in the official rules, but recently there's been much debate after serious brawls have resulted in possible career-ending injuries. People are asking different questions. Will the NHL ever outlaw fighting because of the increased knowledge of head injuries? What is it going to take before they actually do something about it? What's going on this season that seems a little bit different than others?
I don't know if it's all that much different. I think, if anything, it's just the scrutiny of the fighters and of fighting itself. It's really kind of reached a breaking point in the league. There's been such an emphasis on player safety, such an emphasis on concussion protocols and trying to keep the players safe and studying brain injuries that it's become sort of this untenable moment for the NHL. How can you be the league that stresses player safety and trying to keep concussions down, yet also be the league that kind of gives a winking endorsement of fighting? So it's the question that they don't really know how to answer yet, and it's the reason why I think a lot of fights have been scrutinized this year.
On December 7th, for example, Boston's Sean Thornton attacked Pittsburgh defenseman Brooks Orpik. You got to look at this. You see this. This is not. Look at this. I mean, like, this is, look at this. This is not like, you don't see this in basketball, you don't see it in baseball, you don't see it in soccer. I mean, this is a straight up jack. You know what I mean? Now, the result of this hit was a 15-game suspension, which is the second longest suspension handed out by Brendan Shanahan, the senior VP for player safety in the NHL. Mike, when you see something like this, do you think this is a fair suspension? I mean, it's hard to impose rules. I mean, what are the boundaries? Like, in basketball, I remember one day Jermaine O'Neal walked up and punched somebody when he had that big brawl in the Palace, and was like, oh, my God, he must be suspended because things like this cannot happen. Carmelo Anthony was once kicked out for doing that. In baseball, when you charge them out and punch someone in the face, there are penalties. But when you see a 15-game suspension for something like this, a reasonable person in hockey can say, wait a minute, league, you support fighting. You have, like, graphics on the screen in every home arena in the country for people to drop their gloves and knuckle it out. This isn't that far outside of bounds.
Well, it's always a matter of degree. It's interesting that you should pick baseball because they do accept that players will charge the mound. And I could be wrong because I don't follow that closely, but I don't know of any suspensions that have come out of that would be automatic. I'm sure that there have been in the past, but we see lots of instances where baseball has had as many, or I think as many fights as there are in hockey with people charging the mound, right? So, I mean,
that's a fair point.
That could be. All right. Now,
no, that's a fair point.
We also, to this point in baseball, we also allow pitchers to throw at hitters, and we call that high cheese, or he brushed them back, and that'll dust them off, and we seem to be okay with that. Many times I'd like to get punched in the head before I'd rather have a baseball smash me in the head at 95 or 98 miles an hour. So it's always, there's always a line. It's as is true with the law at any level. There's always it's on a tangent, and at some point you do cross over. And to the degree that hockey has always accepted fighting, there's lots of things in life that have been accepted because A, we didn't know any better, or B, we've just become more enlightened, and there's a change, a societal change. I mean, that's the law. The law is what society will allow or put up with or agree to, and it can change. So we're at a tipping point now because of concussions. This is really, there's a couple things that have gone on. The concussions are an issue because we're seeing long-term traumatic effects of players in many sports, all the contact sports that are having problems. And we've had, as a group, our agency has had, at one point, we had a half a dozen players that were out for at least 6 months. And that is a significant issue.